Hi, I'm Carrie and welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would share with you two decks that I handmade. I am going to preface this by saying some of these images are, I guess, copyrighted images. They came out of magazines, calendars, old books, newspaper, wherever I could find them. I have not copied this deck. I have not tried to sell this deck. I have not used this deck for anybody but myself. So it's mine alone. I bought the magazines and then I can do with them what I want as long as I'm not trying to resell or make money off of those images. So I'm going to state that. This is the other deck I made, and it's made with scrapbook papers, Tim Holtz ephemera, Tim Holtz paper dolls, home, old vintage family photos, and so on. So, all right, so this is the first deck that I created. And the whole point I want to say that I am making this video is in hopes that it inspires somebody to take some of the stuff that they've got laying around and make their own deck without overthinking it. You don't need a lot of stuff. You don't need a bunch of fancy things. If you have a printer and can print images off of Pinterest, do that. Handwrite in the phrase to go with it. There's things that can be done in making your own deck for your own personal use that doesn't require a lot of tools. So this one, like I said, was made from calendars, magazines, and so on. I had bought a cheap playing card, a set of playing cards, from Walmart. It was either Walmart or the dollar store, one of the two places. And I backed it with, look, this one doesn't even have anything. I backed it with scrapbook paper. So I had 2 sheets of 12 by 12 scrapbook paper that was like this with the constellations. So every back is different. None of it's the same. And you know what? It doesn't bother me. I don't care because I don't really look at the backs. I did laminate the deck, and I didn't laminate it with a heat laminator, which probably would have been better. I used those self-laminating sheets that you just put the thing in and press it on. Well, then to try to trim it up, it's awful on the edges. Even when I used my corner rounder, and it's peeling a little bit. So if I had to do it all over again, I would not laminate it. I did it thinking that, oh, I'm going to protect the cards, but it's just become a big pain is all it's become. So this is from a calendar. And so the sayings, I should say that first. The sayings, I used the Tim Holtz flip books. I think there's snarky comments or snarky sayings, small talk, and something else that he has. So that's some of them. This one, I used my own label maker because there wasn't a saying that I could find that I wanted. But I could have just easily wrote it in. I tried to cut the images down and make it cohesive and keep the bottom part open so that could be for the phrase. So I did try to do that. The best I could. But yeah, these are just taken out of, like I said, different media sources, and I made my own. I love this Reese Witherspoon one. This was out of, I think, at the TV Guide when Big Little Lies, I think what it was called, was on. But yeah, it's one of my favorites. It's a whole mix of everything, light, dark, funny, sassy, you know, and all that. So don't be afraid to try to make your own oracle. So that's one deck. So then there's this deck. This deck was, it was made for a specific purpose. This is what I call my ancestors deck. So because of that, I am not going to show all the cards with it. Because I use this to tap into ancestor energy and so on. But I wanted to show you some things or explain how I did them in case it inspires you to do something, I guess, similar. So what I did was I made some, first of all, I used an old oracle deck. This oracle deck I bought, I'm not going to say the name of it. I don't even know if I remember the full name of it, but it was awful. And it wasn't even, it wasn't one that had keywords, images. It was just, I don't know what it was. And I don't know what I was thinking when I bought it. So I covered the back with contact paper. And so then I made a big set of cards in regards to people. So this, my father, my mother's living, but my mother, grandmother, grandfather, and siblings, cousins, and so on. So I used Tim Holtz dolls. I used some vintage scrapbook paper that I had. I layered Tim Holtz flowers over top of the dolls. The roses made me think of my grandmother, so I put that there. Although I have another grandmother who's also passed, and she was from Pennsylvania, so that's that representation for her. So I tried to do things that would represent that person deceased. So my one grandfather was a big bird lover, bird watcher. I can remember him sitting on the deck with his binoculars and watching the woodpeckers, then the woods right behind him. My other grandfather was a big camera person, loved photography, amateur at it, but so I tried to add things to the cards to have some sort of, like I said, representation for the person. So I have a set of those. Then I have a set of, and I have several cards of this, of emotions. So I did like happiness and sadness and healing, and I just made up some of those cards. And then I did another set of cards that kind of represented maybe how their spirit felt, if they were restless, learning, reflecting. Now in these ones, I actually used vintage photos from my husband's family. After my mother-in-law passed, we had gotten a stack of some photos, and we didn't know these people, and I photocopied them and used those for the images on here rather than the Tim Holtz dolls. So that's, that. Then I did another set of cards where maybe I want to know how I know their spirit is around or something. And I have several different cards, but like maybe you smell a certain scent when they're around, or maybe they come to you in your dreams. Or maybe it's through sound or music. So I have those ones. And then I have the last set is their representations of their death, accident, illness, and natural. So I'm going to say that these cards are kind of Ouija board-esque. The difference is I am not calling in any and all spirits with them, and I have a whole ritual that's done beforehand and that nature. But I am going to say that if you would do something like this, where you wanted to make your own ancestor deck, or you wanted to make just a vintage deck like this and use it for something else, any deck that you hand create yourself is going to have a ton of energy infused in it. And I know, I guess that's kind of personifying maybe, but you can't help but put energy into, just like when an artist creates a piece of art, they're pouring their energy into that piece of art that they are creating. It's coming from somewhere else within them that they are putting on that piece of canvas. And it's the same thing when you're creating something like this, because it's a piece of art. Tarot decks are a piece of art. So, you know, there is a lot that goes into this deck when you make something like this. So it's very powerful, at least it is for me. I've only done a couple readings with this deck, and I use it, in case anybody is wondering, I use it in combination with tarot deck. So I'm not just using these cards on their own. And if anybody's interested in how I did an ancestor reading with this and how you could adopt doing an ancestor reading with a regular tarot deck, let me know in the comments below and I'll try to make a video on it. I'm not an expert on it. It's a reading that I did for me and my father, and I got from it what I needed to. I'll say that. So, but if you're interested in something like that, where you would like to see how I went about using something like this that I created alongside a regular tarot deck, like I said, just leave me a comment and I will work on filming that video. I am in the process of trying to come up with another little deck that's more on the clean and simple side, using my stamps that I have upstairs and make this little cutesy, I guess, animal deck. If I can find enough images. Right now, it's just kind of twirling around in my head, and I have to figure out what I'm going to be able to do with that, if anything. So if that's something you would like to see when it's finished, or how I'm coming up with it, let me know in the comments and I'll think about doing one of those videos. So I just wanted to share this with you, these two little, well, chunky, two chunky oracles that I made for myself out of material that I had around my house. And I'm very eager to know if you've done anything like this, or are now inspired and want to do something like this. So you can let me know, or if you've already filmed something that you've created like this, let me know that also, and I will come check out that video. So don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps to grow my channel here. And thanks for stopping by today. So until next time, bye.